Now, from deep in the heart of Texas, LifeTalk. Here's your host, Mark Crutcher.
Welcome to LifeTalk for June 2010. I'm Mark Crutcher, and lurking nearby are the usual suspects, Troy Newman, Cherie Johnson, and Johnny Hunter. Of course, Father Frank Pavone and Janet Morano will be joining us later, but as always, the first order of business is Alan Ackles with this month's LifeTalk News. Alan?
All right, thank you, Mark. Following up on a guest segment from last month's Life Talk, after months of pressure from state pro-life groups, the University of Wisconsin has dropped its plan to start performing late-term abortions. Peggy Hamill of Pro-Life Wisconsin called the victory an example of grassroots pro-life activism, but was quick to give the credit to God. Along with Wisconsin Right to Life and Wisconsin Family Action, Hamill's group had carried out an aggressive campaign to prevent the program from being implemented. The Alliance Defense Fund had also provided legal assistance for the effort. Barbara Lyons of Wisconsin Right to Life labeled the results a complete victory. Meanwhile, the Nassau University Medical Center in Long Island, New York, has conceded that it was wrong to discipline 8 nurses for refusing to participate in an abortion. In its apology, the hospital admitted that the nurses had done nothing wrong since the doctor involved said that the patient was in no immediate danger. Under existing federal law, healthcare workers can refuse to participate in any medical procedure in which they morally object, except in a life-threatening situation. Well, during the recent campaign for socialized medicine, Rhode Island Bishop Thomas Tobin told Congressman Patrick Kennedy that Catholic politicians could not support any bill that might pay for elective abortion. Kennedy ridiculed the bishop's warning and worked for the legislation. Well, now Bishop Tobin has withdrawn the 2 Catholic hospitals in the Providence Diocese from membership in the Catholic Health Association for the same reason. Tobin informed the organization's president, Sister Carol Keehan, of his decision and called the group's support of Barack Obama's health care plan a serious scandal. Since its passage, Obama has cited Keehan's enthusiastic endorsement of the plan as a crucial factor in winning the votes of Catholic legislators. In appreciation, Obama gave Keehan one of the pens he used to sign the bill into law. Well, when Jared Alstrom's girlfriend refused to abort their unborn child, he took matters into his own hands. The 31-year-old Colorado man went to Mexico and bought an ulcer medicine that can cause a miscarriage. After secretly giving the drug to the woman, she lost the baby in the 16th week of pregnancy. Now Alstrom has been convicted of unlawfully terminating a pregnancy and given 5 years in prison. However, the judge in the case says he could be out in as little as 2.5 years. In Alaska, the state is recruiting teachers to lead a new sex ed campaign that would instruct male and female students how to purchase and put on condoms, how to engage in safe sex, and how to find an abortion clinic. The program was developed by a California group with ties to Planned Parenthood and includes explicit descriptions of sexual practices for children who do not wish to remain abstinent. Another suggestion made in the curriculum is for the school to take children on a field trip to an abortion clinic. And finally, in Woburn, Massachusetts, the 52-year-old operator of a gymnastics camp is on trial for the sexual assaults of female students that may go back as far as 20 years. Steve Infante is suspected of having raped several girls, but in many cases, the statute of limitations has run out and charges cannot be filed. Authorities say that Infante and his business partner, Steve DeTulio, would provide alcohol and engage the girls in a kind of horseplay that experts claim pedophiles use to groom their victims for sexual activity. DeTulio is currently under indictment for perjury. In at least one case, the illegal activity was concealed through an abortion done on a teenager whose abuse began when she was 14 years old. Well, there appears to be no evidence that the abortion clinic involved alerted authorities under the state's mandatory reporting laws. Alan Ackles here for LifeTalk News. You can get daily news updates by logging on to ProLifeAmerica.com. There you go, Mark.
Thanks, Alan. Well, our prodigal son has returned after a couple months of riotous living.
Boy, that pig trough food is really bad.
That's great.
Did they lock you up anywhere?
Yeah.
I wish. We got good
Well,
food.
we've got a new nominee to the Supreme Court, and I love the rain dance that everybody's doing around this thing. You know, some so-called conservative Republicans are saying, well, we don't really know what her position's on these abortion issues, so we're keeping our powder dry before we figure out. And the Democrats, of course, saying, well, you know, those positions are not known, and the president doesn't ask. Let me tell you something. If this woman was not a slobbering pro-abort, Obama would have never picked her. If you don't think Obama and this woman have had this conversation, you're crazy as a drugstore rat.
Well, she comes from Chicago. She's nothing more than a rubber stamp for Obama. But what's really funny, and of course we see these ironies all the time with liberals, is the same people that were decrying the fact that Harriet Miers couldn't be a judge because she had no judicial experience, she wasn't a judge, are now extolling the virtues of having no judicial experience in Kagan. So
basically, no experience of any kind.
None.
She's never tried a case.
No.
She's never been in a courtroom.
Oh, but she's going to be but she's going to be a justice to the Supreme Court.
Right.
To rubber stamp all of Obama's agenda. We know who she is.
That's a travesty. That's going to be a blot on his historical records. If she's confirmed, that's going to be a blot for the rest of
It's just going to be one big
history.
ink stain.
They're erasing all the blots. It's still George Bush blots all the time.
Well, they won't be able to
It's all
do it
Bush's
after this
fault.
one. I'm telling
The
you.
happiest person is Jimmy Carter because no longer is he the worst president.
Just in passing, I noticed Bart Stupak now was giving some interview and said that when he changed his vote on the health care thing, that it, quote, changed my relationship with the pro-life movement. No, it didn't. It ended it. It didn't change it. It's over.
You got your divorce papers, buddy.
You know what? There's an old saying you often hear it applied to sports that crises don't create character; they reveal character. And the healthcare thing didn't create this guy's character; it just revealed it.
Sure.
And that was true across the board and with a lot of these guys.
Oh yeah, it fleshed out a lot of people. Look at Ben Nelson.
Right. Right.
Yeah, but with Stupak, and if only he had changed, so you lose one. But there was 7 other guys. I mean, we're talking about a group of them
He
who
just
was
most
claiming to
visible.
be, yes. And it just shows politicians lie. They will say what they want to do to get elected, and they lie.
Really, Johnny?
Yeah.
Surely you don't think that's true.
Yes.
These are
But
fine
rarely do you
people.
catch him in an outright public before the entire United States on national television at prime time lie.
Really?
And that's what we saw with Bart Stupak.
Right.
Yes.
You know, and he was allegedly leading this gang of 7 people that were going to consistently vote pro-life, and he got just a little slip of paper from Obama that everybody agrees is absolutely meaningless.
Right. Exactly. It's incredible. You know, talking about something incredible. This is a. It really doesn't. I guess doesn't have anything directly to do with abortion, but we're all aware of this horrible situation in some places of the world where they do female circumcisions, right?
Yes.
And they basically mutilate these girls. Right. The American Academy of Pediatrics is now suggesting that American doctors perform kind of a modified version of female circumcisions so that these girls don't go to other countries and get them done there.
What?
Oh yeah, they're going to seek that out.
Right. Well, their parents or whoever.
So in a sense,
this is like abortion, though.
No, this is cosmetic surgery is what they're talking about, to perform on children unwillingly against their choice,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Well, it's not cosmetic.
They're just
Oh,
calling it a little nick.
yeah.
Little
They're-
nick.
Well, you know, it's to try to deter them from to having sex.
Is this to appease the Islamic community?
I don't know what the deal. They're saying that these girls are being taken from the United States to other countries. I've never heard that this is a major issue. They say they're being taken to other countries to be circumcised. And if we'll just do kind of a modified version of it here, then they won't be encouraged to do it. This is another example of the baseness of the American medical community. We've talked about this before.
I'm convinced they got deviants in high places on these boards. This is what's happening. Even from the time they had all this sex stuff with, what was the guy's name? Spock or whatever, who was Dr. Spock?
Yeah.
And
Come to
John-
find out later, he was just looking at just criminals and
Right.
just so flawed. But the guy was a deviant.
Right.
And I'm convinced they got
you're talking about
deviants. Kinsley. That's who I'm talking about. Yes,
yeah,
the Kinsley.
at Indiana University.
You know, and a whole lot of sexual revolution and sexual data was coming from. And this guy's data was so flawed. But the problem is he was a deviant.
Right.
And I'm convinced that we got deviants in high places.
Now, understand, this is the American Academy of Pediatrics, children doctors. We got to do these modified. Yeah.
They should zero it down to who was the first doctor to bring up and get that guy off the board, if not in jail somewhere.
It's amazing.
Speaking of fine politicians, Florida Governor Charlie Crist. Now, isn't he a Republican? Isn't he supposed to be conservative?
anymore.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
did he
Not
make
anymore.
a
He's an
switch?
independent.
Okay.
He's an I now.
Florida wants to require women to get ultrasound before terminating a pregnancy, and he is going to veto it, and calls it mean-spirited to make them have to look at a sonogram
To see what they're actually doing.
to see what they're doing.
Do you use the word mean-spirited?
Uh-huh. And
yeah.
how much have I said how I wish if I'd have seen a sonogram or somebody telling me the development of my baby, I'd go, thank you so much, thank you for telling me, and I'm out of here, and I'd have a 33-year-old son, and this is mean-spirited to make them have to watch that.
Isn't the mantra of the left to have an informed choice? Right? An informed choice.
No, it's not.
No.
Only if you choose abortion. Abortion is to be chosen. It's not to be unchosen.
That's right.
That's choice
You
is
only
a
have
one-way
one
street.
choice.
It's a one-way street, right?
And did I say, speaking of fine politicians, did I say that? Nancy Pelosi, all our favorites. Yay.
Please don't tell me.
More Botox, please.
She has asked, probably everybody's here has heard what she said this last week, and our fine friends out in pro-life TV land have heard this, that she's at the fine Catholic she is, don't forget. The cardinals, she's asked the cardinals and archbishops and the bishops to speak from the pulpit about immigration laws and how people who oppose immigration reform are sitting in those pews, and you have to tell them that this is a manifestation of living out the Gospels. I didn't know she knew what the Gospels were, but here's the one. She says,